Welcome to Real Women Stories. Today's episode is exploring the strength that us women have and how we deal with situations living in a very male-dominated world.
In the morning meeting, he was very shirty with me and he said, I've got children and mouths to feed at home. I'm almost taking food off his table to settle mine. And I said to him, I've got a shoe addiction that I need to fill. And I literally said, why are your needs more important than mine?
In life, we experience some amazing, wonderful, spectacular moments, but then sometimes it just seems like we hit rock bottom, right?
Meeting that person was the ending of that high life, and that there I would say was the decline in maybe I never looked at it until you now connecting the dots that I realised that was it.
This is Real Women Stories. Lauren Rogers Martin is my guest today, and my God, I am just so excited to chat to her. Anyone that's watching this, I'm sitting in her studio at the moment in her shop in Whitstable. For those that aren't, you need to get your butts down here because it is literally it's an overload senses of colours and smells, and Lauren didn't have this shop for very long. She's only had it for maybe the last year or so. So I'm going to be unpicking Lauren's journey, how she got to own this shop and create this amazing space, and what her journey has been like. So, Lauren, over the last 17 years, I've watched your journey.
Yeah.
You are a little bit younger than me, and I remember having a conversation with you. You were at art college when I first met you.
That's right.
And throughout, and I wasn't massive on Facebook or social media, and I kind of watched you grow and sort of transition into where you are now. And please introduce yourself. Tell us where we're sitting at the moment, so then we can start kind of unfolding our journey together over the last 17 years.
Yeah. Right now we're sitting in the LRM studio in Whitstable. So I'm an artist and I would specialise in illustration and also abstract figurative stuff. In 2015, I started a candle company called Lola Darcy. And that brand was sort of a hobby that I was doing while I was in property and continued that throughout my careers and projects. I always kept Lola Darcy going, and it was something that was building organically or by itself. And when I opened the studio, I combined the art and the candles to create a sort of sensory experience in Whitstable. So yeah, that's where we're at.
I had never been to Whitstable before.
Yeah.
And when I came here, I was like, my God, this place is just so quaint and beautiful.
Yeah.
And the seafront is literally just a stone's thrown away. Stone's thrown away.
Yeah.
And looking around your paintings, you've really captured some beautiful moments of the high street, of the seafront, of women having chats and conversations, which was why I was so drawn to us doing the interview in this shop as well.
Yeah. The best thing about the studio, whether it's successes or it's the trials and tribulations of it, is that having women coming down on their girly weekends away from their husbands and they're visualizing themselves in my artwork and telling me, we sat on the beach and we did this, and it doesn't matter how old they are, what skin tone they are, they see themselves in the pictures. And that's what's just, it's worth all the struggles I've gone through just to hear those stories week by week. So it's a lovely energy.
Amazing. And your story is, I would say, it's one of a bit of a roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
So you were studying as an art student.
Yes.
And was there a particular format you were studying?
Yeah, so I was studying fine art painting at Wimbledon University of the Arts. So yeah, I was doing that. I was fully engrossed in it. I've got to say, I probably wasn't as passionate as my peers in it because there's a bit of snobbiness to the art culture in the world of what deemed a proper artist. And I was painting with pink and glitter and it was snobbed upon, and I refused to sort of perform to it. And when my degree show happened, I think I was only one of three that actually did sell work at the degree show. So yeah, I was happy with that.
So you went to art college, you
Yeah.
got your degree,
Mm-hmm.
and you're how old are you at this point?
Would I've been 21?
21.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I got my degree, finished my degree, and when I finished it, I actually, the week after my degree show, I got contacted by um, an art dealer in Italy, and I met her for coffee, and she bought a very large scale painting. It was maybe about 6 foot, and she said, "I want you to go to Italy and let's do a show. I want to do a show on you." And I remember it like it was yesterday. I was in this coffee shop in central London, and I said, "No, I don't really want to. I don't want to go to Italy. I don't want to do the show." I'd already set in my mind that I wanted to go out and earn and make money, and I had my eye on this property world, and that's what I went to do. So literally after my degree show, I packed up my paintbrushes, packed up all my work in my mum's loft, and I left it there to pursue property.
Why did you make that decision? What was it? Because it seems that you've been successful
Yeah,
in your art.
yeah,
You've had somebody approach you,
yeah,
and most, young
yeah,
women at that point would have gone, "Oh my God, this is like
yeah,
the most incredible opportunity."
yeah.
What happened?
I felt that the institution of the art world, Wimbledon University Arts is one of the best universities in London to study art, probably in the UK. Um, there was this restriction. It wasn't a place I wanted to be a part of. I
Right.
didn't think I'd be taken seriously, and if I wanted to be taken seriously, I would have to I will have a lot of a cash fund behind me to support that. So my concept was I had a plan. It wasn't that I was never going to do art again.
Right.
The plan was that I was going to go earn money, buy investment property, live off the rent, and do my painting. So I had a
You had a
plan,
plan.
but I wasn't there at that plan yet. And so, yeah, that's why I was quite happy to be disciplined and say, it's not now. And I do have regrets on that because I think I should have. Like, I should have taken that opportunity to do that. I didn't because I had
But
a
you had
game
your
plan.
plan though.
Yeah.
And I admire that.
Yeah.
I don't think you should sit there and say you've got regrets
Yeah.
because our paths are there for a reason.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
used your intuition
Yeah.
and you thought, hang on a minute, no. Now a lot of people,
Yeah.
like, if did you talk to your mum about it? Did your
Yeah.
mum sort of
Well,
say, like, what are you doing? You're crazy.
yeah, I think my mum's always been great like that. It's sort of like whatever I want to do, my mum's always supported me.
So you then go into this corporate property world?
Yeah, and I loved it. So I went into the so I started in Islington, and I actually my whole career of Islington probably spanned for about 8 years there. So did that. That time of the market was just an amazing time. And especially in Islington, we'd never achieved the prices that they were charging. It was a new era that it was that flip between that you could potentially buy somewhere for a house for 300 grand was turning into 700 grand. And then you'll see that 700 grand turning into 950 in very short periods of time. We're talking about within a year or so. So it was so exciting. I worked in a mostly male, well, it was a male group for the sales. And being a young black girl and having these, and sales, if anyone knows the property industry, is an old white man's game. So I was very different to what my peers were. And to be able to not only sort of match them, but even exceed them in some places was just, yeah, that was that built my confidence to where I am. That shaped my personality, that job.
When you were in those situations, because I think this is something I'd like to explore, the male, female, because I do feel that as females, we sit back and we tend to sit small. And as you just said, you're a young black female working in a old school male environment. Did you have any awkward situations that you had to deal with?
Yeah, I did constantly have battles because there's a load of emotions that are happening there when you're based on a commission role. I think one story that I always remember quite well is that I remember there was a house on the market for 2 million, and I had a viewing for it that evening, and my colleague had a viewing for it the next morning at 9 a.m. And my viewing at that point was, she's very serious. She did see it twice with me. And I said, I've got a viewing's happening, tomorrow at 9 a.m. If you want it, you're going to need to make an offer tonight. And she did. She submitted a formal offer, and I spoke to the vendor, and they were away. So there was a bit of a time I stayed in the office, and it was about 8:30 when I finally spoke to the vendor, and she was in a great position as well. So it was an offer that he completely snapped my hand off and was like, yeah, let's go with it. And I said, am I okay to cancel the viewing then tomorrow morning at 9? And he said, yeah, I want to go with her. I want to go with this lady. So I had to call my colleague and say, I'm really sorry, but the viewing tomorrow you've got booked at 9 o'clock. I've had to cancel it because it's now under offer. And he was furious. The next morning when he came into the office in the morning meeting, he was very shirty with me. And he said, I've got children and mouths to feed at home. I'm almost taking food off his table to settle mine. And I said to him, I've got a shoe addiction that I need to fill. And I literally why are your needs more important than mine? So, and I think at that bit, and he actually said to me when he calmed down and he'd left the role, he said to me, I admire you for what you did on that. That was agency. And I know I took it badly, but that is what was meant to be done. You did what you had to do for the client. You did those bits on it. And the reason why I say shoe addiction or doing that is because I want to I always feel come back with people with a little bit of, you don't have to match the same energy. You always want to make people feel,
step back and go,
make a joke about it and be like, you're being ridiculous, so I'm going to give you ridiculous in that kind of way. So we don't have to have a back and forth. We need to sort of get you realise what you just said is just nonsense. And why I should just sit here and go without making any money from my life. Well, I've got dreams and aspirations of what I want to do. So that was it really. I've had a great director who hired me throughout my time with him. He was just, I think, there wasn't a lot of interactions, but there was like a secret bit of confidence that he had in me, and that always made me feel like I could do it.
So you felt like someone had your back.
Yes.
Someone was kind of there, just as a little lean on.
Lean on.
Nice.
Exactly.
So you've kind of got your plan in action. You've, in this corporate world where you're earning lovely amounts of money.
Really good money,
And then what happens?
And then a property came up in Islington, and I decided to buy it. Me and my colleague decided we'll go 50-50 and buy this investment property. And we did. And off the back of that, when we did sell it, maybe 2 years down, we made a little bit of money from that. I then bought my own house in Catching-on-Sea, and I realised I had savings, I had the investment property, but I didn't have my art career, and that's when it clicked. I thought, well, hold on, I've just been working all these years. You said you were going to tick off and do these bits, and I didn't do it. And I always felt like, I didn't have enough money. I didn't have enough money to do it. Wasn't the right time. And in 2019, I just decided, after that I'd left and gone to different property places. My last place was that in Marylebone. I just decided, no, this is the year. I am giving up. And I'd already started drawing. Again to healing from a relationship breakdown. And as I was drawing and healing, that's when I decided, right, the job had to go and I had to focus on this.
So is it okay if we touch upon this relationship? So because I think that we all have situations in our lives that suddenly make us stop and reflect. But I think it will be really important for the listeners to understand how you were feeling and how you got to get from a place where you were in a toxic relationship because you were this powerful, strong woman, and then you're in a relationship that brings you down to the depths of complete, utter, you've hit rock bottom.
Yeah. Well, I talk about this fantastic time in the property career. That was meeting that person was the ending of that life and that high life. And that there, I would say, was the decline in maybe, I never looked at it until you now connecting the dots. I realised that was it. I was living in a lovely world, and I was dating and I was having fun, but I somehow got caught by this maybe the wrong person. And it, slowly chipped at me as a summary of that. But I literally just met someone, and he was into property, and he swept me off my feet. We felt like we had a connection. He was very charming, very fun, and I just got in all this whirlwind of excitement, as you do. You fall in love with someone, and I didn't realise that this person that I'd fallen in love with had a drink and drug problem. And at that point, I had no idea about drugs, even drinking heavily. I was the person that would go out and I had 2 glasses of wine and I was gone, thrown up. I didn't understand the levels of what people don't realise about alcohol is that, and drugs, is that it's not the feeling that you're having there and then. This took me a long time to understand that. It's what happens to your body afterwards, the come down, the feelings, it could be weeks afterwards. I couldn't get that into my head. In my head, I was like, okay, you had a heavy night. Why are you being so mean to me? It's 2 days later. I couldn't get it.
Didn't understand the come down situation. Yeah.
I didn't understand it. So I was arguing with this person and comforting this person when thinking they were on a logical place as me, and they weren't. And that took 5 years of that and that abuse.
So how old were you at this point?
I would say 26.
Okay. You've been working in this environment for quite a long time. You're still with him. And you're trying to deal with your relationship situation, which surely sucked up all your energy and your creativity, everything.
No creativity in that time. There was no. I remember I was working on Lola Darcy, and during that time, I always continued Lola Darcy. As I said, that was my only outlet that I had while I was doing the property of some sort of creativity. And I remember I got an opportunity for my stuff to be for Lola Darcy to be stocked in TK Maxx in Australia, Canada, America. And I was working on this PDF brief late at night, working away, and he was next to me saying, why are you doing that? Why are you working on that? You're never going to get anywhere. You're not going to amount to it. It's a waste of time. It's a pipe dream. And I remember having to hide in the toilet and pretend that I was using the bathroom just to finish this brief, because I was determined to be like, no, you're not going to let me. I did think he's right. But I thought, I have to just try. But then I think, what would I have done if I really believed in myself? And I did get the contract. And when he did that, it's like, okay, well, this might be something that's worth listening to, almost in a kind of way. My friend said to me, we're having a chat. She said, most men, when they're horrible to you and they're doing that, it's because they're jealous of you. And I thought, don't know, I'm not sure. But I found an old email that he'd written to me when we first started dating. And it was just a bit like, he goes, I'm actually quite jealous of your determination and bits. And he goes, but I would never say that. And it was just a fleeting comment. And it, I would never say it to your face or some sort of line like that. And I thought, how interesting is that? So you saw something in me, and then you tried to break it down over those years of doing that. And I had no idea that, one, I even had anything in me, 2, that you'd seen it, and that 3, you were breaking it out with me.
I think that a lot of women go through these types of relationships. You fall in love with somebody, you want to be with somebody. I've been there myself. Exactly a similar situation. I was the strong, powerful woman. you then start carrying them. You then start the
That. Yeah.
codependency. You then don't realize you're actually helping them do what they're doing
Doing to
by
you. Yeah.
and doing to you, and you're
Yeah.
allowing that
Yeah.
behavior.
Yeah.
And it is a lot of our strong women that, and I'm going to say, because it does feel like they're predators,
Yeah.
but I don't honestly think that a lot of men mean to do it. It's
Yeah.
just a behavior that happens.
Yes.
They
Yeah.
fall in love with you.
Yeah.
They suddenly look at you as being the strong, powerful woman.
Yeah.
They then start using, or they have an addiction. You
Yeah.
start helping, and then the balances start
Moving
moving,
past. Yeah.
and all your powerful care, your creativity gets thrown into that one person.
Yeah.
They then suck all the energy out of
Yeah.
you, and you're left with, hold on, who am
Who
I?
am I?
Who am I now?
Yeah.
Who am I?
Yeah.
I don't know who I am
Yeah.
anymore. I remember who I was once, but now I'm a lesser person of
Yeah.
myself, and I'm
Yeah.
with this person who
Yeah.
I love, but I don't actually like anymore. But how do I get out of this relationship?
Yeah.
Because there are so many women that go through these scenarios.
Yeah.
And it's about having the strength to pull yourself out, because
Absolutely.
your friends will go, they'll look at you and they'll
Yeah.
say things, but they
Yeah.
know
They
they
can't.
can't tell you. They can't
Because they
tell
don't want to
you.
be that friend, and then they know that you're going to go back and tell, said partner,
Yeah.
and then that partner's going to isolate you from them. So it puts your friends and your family in a really
Difficult situation. I've been through experiences.
Yeah.
I know that there are so many other women listening to this who have been through similar experience, or might even still be going or sit in that situation.
Yeah.
So tell me, because this is where it starts changing.
Yeah.
You found your creativity somehow, and you say it was through it was healing.
Yeah. So it was in sort of, I was very unhappy in this relationship. We just moved into this brand new flat that he'd developed, and it was beautiful, and we were building our lives together, but it just felt so wrong, so soulless, and not what I expected it to be. And I was in the middle of the night sneaking out of the room, going onto the sofa, and I started drawing on my phone. I realised that you could get this app and you could get a pen and you could draw on your phone. And I thought, well, that seems quite easy. It was nothing. I was just playing about. So I got these pens and I was just drawing on my phone. And I got so, I would say, engrossed in it. I would spend hours. I'd look at the time, it'd be 4 a.m. and I was still drawing, and I had completely zoned out. And honestly, it was such a lovely feeling, and I just loved it. I couldn't wait to get back to draw. And I realised I'd found myself again, that all these bits I'd love to create in and doing all these bits. So I did that, and then I was drawing. So I was doing these bits, and I was drawing bits on Instagram. I'd see things that I liked, and I thought, oh, that looks pretty. I'm going to draw it. One with Wayne Lineker and his girlfriend, and it was actually a post that he was breaking up. And I didn't even look at the post. I just loved the picture, drew it, posted it, and he messaged me. He was like, oh my God, that's beautiful. Thank you for drawing that. And I didn't even know it was a sad post. And so that started from there. And as that went on, I did some artwork for him and his Skinny Kitchen in Islington, a restaurant that was opened. And then Kourtney Kardashian set up a company, Push. And again, I saw the marketing. I love marketing campaigns. I'm so in love. I love when people tell stories through their marketing. I just find it, that is what I love to draw the most, I think. And that's why a lot of people say, oh, just that sort of fashion. And I said, no, it's not. But it's more the marketing side of it, telling the story. So I saw this drawing of Kourtney Kardashian. She's sort of sitting on her dressing table, and you probably know that she's nude, and she's holding her MacBook in front of her, which is just covering her bits. And I drew it, and I was, drew it in the night, posted it, went to work, finished work, got out of the train station, and I had messages from random people on Instagram saying, Kourtney Kardashian has just shared your artwork.
Oh my God.
Strangers. I don't know.
Amazing.
Amazing. And I was like, it was, I guess that was a little bit of like, I mean, it seems like a weird way to get validation, but it kind of makes you think, hold on, I'm doing something in my dark, room, hiding away from my drunk ex next door, and someone in the other side of the world, in a different, completely different world to I am, has seen my work, connected with my work, shared it with millions of people. And I just, it gives you a bit of like, hold on, I can do great things if I go back to that. And that was the starting point of maybe just believing in myself. It wasn't like, didn't change my career and it all did that. It didn't. It just made me realize that, hold on, I can do more. I'm going to do more.
There are so many bits about that story that I'm kind of like, my brain's. So the first bit, which I love, is you have a real connection with yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's really what this is about. You have a really strong connection with yourself and who you are inside. The second thing I just want to acknowledge you for, and I think that is amazing and something that I love, I'm a businesswoman and I love business and I find it exciting and it lights me up, but I love my coaching, right? So you're a businesswoman, but you have your art. And if you put those two together, it's just a fantastic formula, a really, really good formula. So you're using all of your skills and putting it into one place, and your energy, you're funneling your energy into that, which I think is very important. A lot of us miss our skills and it's what lights us up. And it doesn't matter. You can be creative and you can be business minded at the same time. Had you not posted that picture on social media, and this is for listeners as well. If you have a business and you're setting it up and you're scared to post, just do it. 100%. Because like that is an opportunity, and it doesn't matter if no one sees it, but what if that one person sees it? Exactly. And it's not about going viral, and it's not about being this big Instagrammer. You put something you love, you have a passion for, and you put it out on Instagram, and somebody saw the beauty in that.
With my artwork, honestly, I've had people, which was such a small little town, and I've had people that bought my artwork, and the stories that they've said, how it's connected with them, or the passing of someone that they love, or the amount of stories I could tell you that I never knew that are drawing. In fact, one of them is the Kiss My Ass one, which
that I gave to my daughter.
Do you know how many people? I mean, on Saturday, I had a 70-year-old woman walk out in an A1 print of it and taking it out with her. It's just like, you never know what something is for.
Absolutely. And you have to remember that, and I nearly did history of art at school, and I kind of wish that I did it, because I do have an intrigue in, when you look at a picture, it's your perception and what you see. It's what you see in that picture. 100%. Now, yes, you've obviously drawn it, but you've obviously got a real gift, because the paintings that I'm looking at, I mean, obviously a lot of people can't see them, are, how can I put it? They are detailed in as much as there are people in them. And I, as you say, when you look at the picture, I'm looking at this picture now. There's two women sitting on the beach, and one's reading a book and one's having a drink. And when I look at that picture, I see me and my best friend. My best friend is sitting there reading the book, looking, because she's like, Lisa, shut the fuck up. Stop gabbing on. There's me with my glass, having an old chin wag, and she's just like, I'm just looking at my book because you just talk too much.
But when you said about the illustrations, it's funny you put that in the right term, because I always say to people, when they said, oh, can you commission and can we be in it? I say, I don't capture a likeness of someone. I capture a moment and a feeling. That's what I'm trying to capture. So it's not meant to be if their face is in the right place, or who looks like this person, or the colour of your hair. It's not about that. It's about just that little moment. And that's what I think, that's why people can see, so many people can see themselves in this picture.
There are going to be, now how old are you now?
I'm now 36.
You're 36. So you're obviously a bit younger than me. I'm 51.
A little bit.
I'm 51. But your knowledge of life and experience will, I feel, resonate with a lot of women listening to this, no matter what age they are. If you had anybody that was younger listening to this, or there was a mum like myself, and their daughter was embarking on their career, and maybe they wanted their daughter or son to do something with what they've done at university, but they make a different decision like you did. What would you say to that parent as your younger self? Because I think we struggle as parents with those scenarios, because we care so much about our kids. And we do have knowledge, but at the end of the day, we have to let our kids
100%. Always give 110% to what you're doing. And I think we take the wisdom from older people, but then also don't neglect. I think a lot of older people stagnate people in a way of that, well, we didn't do it like that, and what is social media and what all those bits. There's a lot of positives to social media. There's a lot of positives to the type of marketing that we do now, and creativity is not. And the new generation, I admire them so much, how they're so strong to be like, I'm not going to do things the conventional way. I'm going to do this. And I don't really fancy it. Sort of like their work ethic's different. They sort of want to do less for more. But I kind of think that we did too much. We suffered ourselves. I think there's a culture as well of working really, really hard for very minimal money. But because you're working hard makes you a good person and you're doing these bits. It's made us think that when you get home tired and drained, but you're not being creative to think, oh, what do I want to do?
You're full of wisdom for such a young woman, and I just only wish you all the success with this wonderful shop. And if anybody hasn't been to Whitstable, please come and see Lauren, because her shop is beautiful. I've really enjoyed chatting to you, so thank you, and reconnecting after so long.
Really great. No, I've really enjoyed it.
Thank you. This conversation for me has been so important for me to reflect on being a woman and how much power and strength that we have as women, especially in a very male-dominated world that we live in, within the corporate world, even within our kind of everyday life. I think as women, we seem to shrink a little bit. We sit small. Lauren didn't do that. Lauren stood up and really shined. And, you know, she's only 36. And when she did that, she was a lot younger. We need to be talking about these situations a lot more. We need to be encouraging the younger generation to really shine, believe in themselves, and step up into the world exactly the way Lauren did. As a coach, I think it's really important to be able to share my experiences on this podcast. But there are some women who may need a little bit of extra help. And I, as a coach, have helped women through their situations to get them to believe in themselves, to understand who they are, and appreciate that confidence is a practice and confidence is a belief. And once we start believing ourselves, we can really show up in our world, in our life, in our relationships. And this is a type of work that I do with the women that I'm working with at the moment. I have a couple of slots available. If anybody would like to get in contact with me, please do. Please reach out. If you feel that you are in a situation where you don't want to sit small anymore, where you feel that you want to, you know, go after that dream that you've had, but you just don't know how to, you just don't feel confident. It's just a conversation. If you want to get in touch with me, I have an email address. It's therealstoriespodcast@gmail.com. We deliver a guest interview and a coaching episode every week. And my next episode will be a coaching episode. We're going to be looking at some of the challenges that Lauren has experienced within her life. And I'm going to be using Mel Robbins's Let Them theory within my coaching session. So if you would like to listen to that coaching session, if you'd like to learn a little bit more about how we can use the let them theory in our coaching and in our everyday life, then why not tune in to my midweek episode of Real Women's Stories?